Hey everyone, Britt and Chris Carmichael here, bringing you the Elevated Life series, where we teach you simple mindset shifts to create radical transformation in your life. Today's topic is 3 things to do when you're waking up faster than your partner. This is a topic that I come up against all the time with the women in Shine Tribe. And it's actually what I see is women progressing a little bit faster than men. And that's like different from our society, so men don't understand it. So we're gonna share 3 tips that you guys can do if you're on different spiritual or business or personal growth levels. If you're progressing faster than your partner, then you definitely wanna stay tuned for this video.
Yeah, this is massively important because when one person starts to outgrow the other partner in basically anything, there's always going to be a relationship shift. There's going to be a dynamic change. And so what we really want to do is minimize that and allow you to get back into the normal routine of things where you feel like you're on even keel and you're just moving with the flow of life, moving with the flow of relationship and enjoying yourselves. The first thing that we have for you guys, the first big tip, and this one really is the biggest, and that is to drop the ego. A lot of times when we find ourselves on a spiritual journey, or a lot of times we find ourselves progressing with our intuition and coming up with things that aren't typically taught, what we have the tendency to do is I'm right, you're wrong. And that's just ego talking. And if you constantly enter into every conversation that you have with your partner as I'm right, you're wrong, guess where that's going to lead you? I mean, you may as well dig yourself a hole and bury the 2 of you in there. What you really want to do is get on that same page so that you can talk to one another and begin to understand where the other person is.
Yes, and the second thing that you can do is to stay in your own lane, because you guys are individuals. In the Tarot, there's a card called the Lovers, and the Lovers is a divine union of wholeness where each partner has their own personal beliefs, their own values, their own passions, their own preferences. And once you develop yourself as a whole being without the dependency of a partner, that's when you can actually come into a relationship and be a loving, supportive duo. And that's the thing, like, we're progressing towards that. We all marry our partner or sign up for a partnership because we want that perfect whole, like, yin-yang union, right? So know that you're going to be growing, your partner's going to be growing, and it's going to be at different rates. You know, I'm a sunflower and Chris is a daisy, so we bloom
I
don't know.
I'm a daisy.
You're
guys.
a daisy.
It's good. I love it.
We bloom at different speeds, and so it's not just because they're your partner and you spend so much time with them and they are a close and clear reflection of you doesn't mean that you're meant to judge your journey and your growth based on your partners. Chris is like an old soul, so you know that we've all got catching up to do, right? But I don't judge my growth and my wins and my celebrations and my struggles and triumphs and lessons learned based on his speed of growth and where he's at and the knowledge that he has. I mean, he reads a book a week, if not more. So of course he's going to progress faster because he has more knowledge.
Yeah, one of the really big things here is to think about everything in your life as preferences. And so if I really like ice cream, but Britt really may like cupcakes, she doesn't have to convince me to like cupcakes. It's not one of those things. I can continue liking ice cream.
By the way, Chris does not like cupcakes.
I do love ice cream though. And so it's one of those deals. Remember that we're all going to have different kinds of skill sets. Some of us are excellent at communication. Some of us are excellent at athletics.
Kara's
It all just depends.
here!
What's up?
Oh my gosh, everyone say hi to my little sis, Kara. I was thinking about you this morning and I was going to send you a message to say have a good day
I'm in school. I love it.
I was going to tell her to have a good day in school, but here she is. Talk about manifesting amazing things. Love you, Care Bear.
Yeah, so make sure you're staying in your own lane. Just because you're moving forward doesn't mean you always have to drag them along. The great part is when 2 partners have big differences in skill sets, because now you can use each other to really push forward. Britt is excellent at some things that I'm not really that good at. And so what that does is it allows me to see how great it's doing in her life, and I automatically think, well, hell, how can I do some of the things that she's doing? That's really incredible. The way she fills people with passion, the way she moves through life, the way that she attracts people, her charisma. I mean, it's beautiful to watch. And that's not always a skill set that I've got. And so watching her allows me to bloom also. So remember that as you're going on a journey, you can allow your partner to bloom. And you have to do that in the way that you communicate. You're there by just being that silent I love you, I care about you, I want you to progress, I'm here to support you. And consistently do that, not just with your words, but with your actions and with how you feel and how you approach them.
So using their language is the third thing that you can do to help to kind of balance the imbalance of growth in your partnership. So for example, when Chris and I were going on this journey of personal development, I started going down the woo path. I started reading books on intuition and metaphysical books and crystals and angels and numbers and tarot. And Chris was like, not my language. I like science and psychology and all those things, right? And so we kind of started, our path started going like this when we first started going on this personal development journey. And we were totally okay with that because we knew it was important to stay in our own lane during our growth. And what we came to find out later is that I would talk about this and he would talk about that, and the path would unfold, and we came closer and closer and closer to merging together because what we realized is that when we share each other's language, when I speak in a way that makes sense to him, it's easier for him to understand where I'm coming from when I'm taking a different path. And what we later came to find out is that we're speaking the same language, but just with different words, I suppose.
Yeah, we're all really sensitive to words. I don't know why that is. I guess it's just how we've learned to communicate. But some people, if you use the word universe, will freak out. Some people use the word God, will freak out. If you use energy, people will freak out. So you always have to be meeting them on their terms. When you have a conversation with like-minded people, you can use whatever language you want. But as you're talking to people who aren't there yet, or who are just now coming up, it's confusing. When we use different language, it always means different things to different people. And if you're further along, it's going to mean something different too. So make sure you're talking in a way that they can understand. If you're not, the only thing you're going to do is come up with resistance. And remember, what we're really talking about here is changing belief patterns. So if one person is spiritually progressing, their beliefs are going to be different than a person who doesn't have that same system or doesn't have that same belief system. So you have to remember that beliefs come up to resistance, because that's how we define ourselves. That's how we define the world. So you're not interested in changing a person's beliefs. That will never work. They have to do that kind of work themselves, and they will through experiences. What we just want to offer as partners is love and support. That's what really matters. It doesn't matter if you're right. It doesn't matter if they're right. None of that's really important. What's important is that you're continuously offering that love that you know they need.
And that's what we mean by our first tip, drop the ego. Our ego wants the other person to follow along with their protocol, but just like Chris says, we're all different people and we all have different preferences. So we can't force and control other people to believe what we believe. However, if you are loving and supportive, like Chris has always been, you might inspire someone to expand their beliefs or expand their perception and start to question, well, why do I believe this way? Or where did that come from? Or who did I learn this from? Because Chris challenged my beliefs from day one that we met. He was like, I won't get into the details because it might piss some people off, but he started challenging me. Well, why do you believe that way? And where did you come up with that? And how did you learn that? And it shook my world. I was like, wait, what? I've lived 20 years of my life this way. And only because he started asking questions going, well, why do you believe that? And not saying you're wrong, you're stupid. It was just a questioning and a support of, let me understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and when you start doing that, and when you start meeting that person where they are, and we start showing them that I love and appreciate you, you'll open up their world to so many new and wonderful things. But if you constantly are attacking them, if you're constantly telling them that everything that they think is wrong and that that's so stupid and things like that, all you're going to do is just, like I said before, you're going to bury the relationship. That's what you're doing. Every time you lash out at your partner out of anger instead of supporting them with love, it doesn't mean you won't outgrow them. Sometimes we'll just outgrow partners. You'll go this way, they'll go that way, and you'll just say, hey, it's been a great ride with you. I'm on to different things now, and that'll be fine. But if you want to stay, as a unit, if you want to support them as much as you can, you have to continuously show that. And dropping that ego, staying in your own lane, and talking to them in the language that they will understand is the sure, fastest way to get there.
So I want to know, are you someone that identifies with this topic in your partnership? Are you someone who's being outgrown or even outgrowing your partner? If so, where do you struggle in your growth? Is it that you have your ego issues? Is it that you're not communicating clearly, or are you trying to force them? Where are you at when it comes to struggling with your spiritual growth and your personal development in your partnership?
Yeah, one thing that we're noticing, like Britt said in the beginning, is that a lot of her female clients are having this thing come up. And what we're noticing more and more often is the fact that we're seeing the emergence of a new man come out. And a lot of times it takes the guy a little bit longer because we're taught in a very specific way. You know, we're not supposed to have feelings, we're not supposed to cry, we're not supposed to do these certain things. You know, it's that whole mask of masculinity that we're always wearing. And once you start getting guys to open up to this, and once they start feeling this, and once they start tapping that intuition and noticing synchronicities and feeling like the depths of life instead of just being on always that surface achievement level, I mean, guys come out to do really, really beautiful things, but we have to continuously inspire them. And the relationships that I'm seeing succeed the most, and the male partnerships stuff that I'm seeing succeed the most are the ones where they have that partner that allows them to explore and allows them to navigate, even if everything's super choppy, even if the waters are difficult, it's fine. Just allow them to continue on their journey and stay in your own lane, but support them.
Rebecca says, my husband thinks it's all rubbish.
Yeah, I love it. And let him think that. It's totally fine. Let that continue to be. What your deal is to be, you are supposed to be the light, right? Be the light. You want to be a light worker? You want to be on the spiritual path? Be that light, because every time that resistance comes up, every time that barrier comes up or obstacle, especially with somebody that we love, you just show them. You show them through what's happening in your life by saying, hey, I'm sticking to this path. I'm going to do things this way. And watch what happens. Just watch and show them. They'll get it. Guys will eventually get it, I promise.
So if this has been a topic that you love, I want to hear your aha moment in the comments below, or tag someone that you know needs this message. Hell, just even tag your partner. This is first step in being honest and open in your communication, is getting on the same page. So if you have a partner and you feel like you might need a little tune-up, then just tag them below. It's not rude, it's just honest. And when you're honest with each other, that's when you can make the changes. So if you love this video, please share it, tag someone below that you love. And thank you so much for all of your support here on the Elevated Life series, where we join you each week to teach you simple mindset shifts to create radical transformation.
Oof.
Yee! Have a beautiful week, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.